going live a moment ago and realized had the wrong orientation of my camera, so we're good to go now. Hey guys, happy Saturday. I wanted to share 3 food shopping tips with you. I just went to Aldi last night and loaded up on a bunch of wonderful, healthy ingredients for very little money. And just wanted to share what I got at Aldi's and how this applies to 3 tips that you can incorporate for a great shopping experience. So number 1 is to be organized before you even go to the store. So you want to take an inventory of what you have in your cabinets already. I kind of combed through my kitchen and I made sure I wasn't double buying anything, saw what I needed for the week. And this relates to meal planning too. So you want to kind of plan out what you're going to make for the week, what dinners you're going to prepare, and what you need. I like to, along those lines, choose ingredients that I can spread out over several meals. So I'm not buying one specific ingredient that I'm only going to use one time. I like to plan ahead and get ingredients that are versatile. If it's beans, I want to see that I can use them in a few different meals. If it's something like beef, I got the grass-fed beef at Aldi for $5 and change. And I'm going to use this for tacos. I'll use it for burgers. I can use this in a chili. I can use it in different types of meals and just really get the most bang for my buck in using that in different types of recipes. So that's something to just keep in mind as you're making your shopping list, which I like to make an old school shopping list. I'm just going to show you here. I take along my paper pad. It's a nice sturdy one. I got this at, I forget, TJ Maxx, I think. And it's nice because I can just take this along with my pen and just check things off as I go. I'm kind of old school that way. I like to make my shopping list that way. How do you like to make your shopping list? Do you like to use your phone or do you use paper? I'd love to hear if you want to leave a comment. So that's what I like to do, is to take along my list, check things off as I go, be really organized and focused as I'm shopping. And I had mentioned in my video that I made a little bit ago on how to save on grocery shopping, to just have a organized experience while you're shopping as much as possible. It's not always possible. Sometimes we have to take the kids along, or we're just sort of chit-chatting or whatever. We might get distracted as we're shopping, but the more we can kind of focus in on our list and just stick to what we have on our list and not get enchanted with snack food items and things like that, we're going to keep our budget down, what we spend at the store, and it's just going to be a less stressful experience. Sometimes people get stressed out when they're shopping, but there are ways to make it fun and enjoyable and even relaxing. So what I do is I make my shopping list in advance, like I said, and I plan for different proteins. So beef is one of them. I like to get my frozen fish at Aldi. It's also inexpensive. I'm kind of highlighting Aldi a lot in this video because that's where I shopped last night. But they have really good deals on frozen wild fish like cod, halibut, flounder, and you get pretty reasonable prices there on everything. So I got my grass-fed beef, I got my fish. I can make fish tacos with that. I can make cilantro lime rice to go along with that and make more of a bowl type of meal with it. So it's versatile. And I like to have that on hand. It's not like fresh fish where it's like, okay, I got to use this within a few days and otherwise it spoils. The frozen fish is nice because it's handy. You can just keep it on hand and it's there when you need it. Some other items that I got at Aldi were some frozen green beans. It's nice to select from their organic vegetables if you're into organic shopping. These are the best prices that I've found on organic frozen veggies. This is like $1.59 or something, really inexpensive. So I can use this to put into like a vegetable soup. I can also pair this with the rice, with some rice and the beef to make a delicious Persian rice with beef and green beans. So lots of options when it comes to frozen veggies, and it's also a nice way to keep them fresh. Sometimes when you buy fresh vegetables, as much as I love fresh veggies, if you don't use them, they're going to spoil. So you got to make sure that you have your menu plan and that you can incorporate them into your meals. But the frozen is nice because then you can just have them on hand, be a little more spontaneous. If you feel like adding some corn or peas or something, they're right there, and it's not something you have to worry about spoiling. Plus, the nice thing with frozen vegetables is that they're chosen at their peak ripeness and then they're flash frozen, so they retain a lot of the nutrients. So some people even say it's more nutritious to use frozen. I don't know about that. What do you guys think? But it's definitely a handy thing to have on hand, and will save on not wasting food, not end up not using something and then throwing it away. So that's my one tip about meal planning and being organized with your shopping list before even going food shopping. And then my next tip is to be choosy when it comes to snack foods. It's easy to just especially if we're hungry, get enticed by things we see on the shelves and throw them in the cart. So I don't recommend going to the store when you're hungry. That's one thing. And when you're there, if you are going to choose some snack items, just make sure to be a label reader. I picked up some, what are these? Coconut cashew crisp. These are the sea salt variety. They have really clean ingredients. It's just coconut, cashews, coconut sugar, cassava flour, and sea salt. Really pure ingredients and just a nice snack option that's healthy and nutritious. That's something I could pretty much bake at home. They say the rule of thumb with buying packaged food is, could I make this at home? So that's just something to keep in mind. And I do often try to do my own baking throughout the week. It's just a great money saver, and then you can really control what's in the the ingredients that you're choosing, what's in the cookie or what's in the baked good. So that's a nice thing to do for packed lunches for kids, and just having those little sweet treats on hand, because I got a sweet tooth. I don't know about you, but that's nice to do. So along those lines of something sweet, I also picked up some blueberries, some frozen blueberries. And these are great because you can make different things out of them. I like to make a fruit compote every week. The fruit compote goes really great on oatmeal, like I had for breakfast this morning. You can top it off with some cooked blueberries. I just cooked this up with a little bit of, I think I put some chopped pear in there and a little bit of cardamom and a tiny bit of maple syrup. And you just cook it for 5 or 10 minutes till it's nice and soft and tender. And then at the end, you just add a little bit of cornstarch to thicken it. And voila, you've got your own homemade fruit compote. You can use different types of fruits. And that's where those frozen blueberries really come in handy. This whole bag, by the way, was really not bad for organic blueberries. Let me check my receipt here. I saved my receipt to share with you guys. I think that was only $6. Yeah, $6.29 for this huge bag. This is how many ounces? This is 24 ounces of frozen blueberries. So that's a great deal. And sometimes I'll make a blueberry crisp. I incorporate other fruits like apples with the blueberries. And I like to make a little oat crumble topping and bake that up, and that makes a delicious, healthy dessert. I also picked up some fresh blueberries, and these are nice too, of course, just for snacking and having on hand, tossing into baked goods like a muffin. So these were also pretty reasonably priced. And so just being choosy with our snack foods. There are really actually very few snack foods that I buy at the store. Chips and things like that, they often are made with seed oils. There are some these days that are cooked with avocado oil, which is nice. But it's so easy to make your own snacks at home. Like you can take some corn tortillas and just toss them with a little bit of your own healthy fat, like either avocado oil or a little bit of beef tallow, a little sea salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and just pop those in the oven and bake them, and you've got some delicious homemade tortilla chips. So, just want you to feel empowered to not only save money, but also make things that are healthy to eat and nutritious and homemade. So that's another tip, is being choosy when we buy our snack foods, and just to kind of keep them at a minimum, just to keep costs down and for healthier choices with homemade food anyway. And then we want to build a solid pantry also. So I like to pick up items like this olive oil. Again, I got this from Aldi. It says that it's, I believe it says here somewhere, I remember reading on the label at some point that it's 100% olive oil, which is important to look for. A lot of olive oil that's on the shelf is actually not 100% olive oil. They'll mix other oils into it to make it cheaper to produce, but this is 100% olive oil. And this was also around $5. Let's see here. Yep, $5.79. So great deal for how many ounces? This is 16.9 fluid ounces. Great deal. So I'm building my pantry with things like olive oil, good quality sea salt, maple syrup. This was also, I think, like $5. So everything is really reasonable there. But whatever stores you have in your area, if you don't have access to an Aldi, you might have a Costco or a place like that. So it's just great, even once a month, to just go to a store like that and just stock up on things that you can build your pantry with so that you can make these delicious homemade meals easily because you have the right ingredients on hand. Maybe you need some mustard for a honey mustard dressing, or some dried herbs and spices and things like that. You want to have a well-stocked pantry with the right ingredients to make these delicious homemade meals, because it is still cheaper in the end to cook at home. I know people have been saying like, oh, the cost of groceries are going up. It's costing more and more to buy groceries. Yes, it is. But fortunately, in the long run, it is still cheaper to cook at home. So I'm a huge advocate of home cooking I do pretty much, mostly home cooking. Eating out is a treat. I love going to restaurants, but I was just sharing with my fiance this morning that most restaurants do include those seed oils. So things like, the canola oil, oils that just aren't good for our health. So, they're using those on the grill and in ingredients in dressings and things like that. It's just not great long term to consume a lot of those seed oils. And a lot of people are really getting more and more aware of that. So that's where it's great to just cook at home, use your own healthy oils and save money. So what else did I pick up? I want to share with you guys some pasta sauce. This is very reasonably priced, and you can use this in a versatile sort of way. You can use this paired with the fish. You can use it with pasta, of course. Make a homemade lasagna, whatever you like. So things like this are good to keep on hand. I was not able to eat this for the longest time because I was having some IBS issues. For those of you who have digestive issues, situations like gastritis and whatnot, this could be too irritating for your stomach. So it can take a little bit of work on your IBS issues before you're able to have tomato products, and some people just have to avoid them altogether. But if you can have tomato products, it is a nice thing to keep on hand. I also picked up some pears while I was there. I always like to take advantage of their apples and pears at Aldi, and these are great during the week just for snacking or for including into a fruit crisp, something like that, where you just make like a little oat crumble topping for it, or you cook it up into a fruit compote like this. So you can make a poached pear. That makes a beautiful dessert where you just actually take the whole pear and poach them in a pan with a little bit of red wine or a little bit of fruit juice, and that's a really elegant dessert. I love making those. And something else I picked up was a big bag of kale. So this comes in handy. It does have a lot of stems included. That's my only gripe with the chopped kale. It seems like no matter what variety I get, if I get Trader Joe's or the one at Aldi, it always has a lot of stems. So it's a little tedious. I just spread it out into like a big Tupperware, and I pick through and I take all the stems out. Now you can eat the stems, but they're very tough, so you need to cook them well to get them tender enough to be able to eat them. Personally, I'm just not a huge fan of too many stems mixed in, so I do pick those out. But this is a nice, convenient item. Keep on hand to get those dark leafy greens during the week. And I also picked up some kombucha. I've been into making my own probiotic water at home. It's actually relatively easy to make your own enzyme water and probiotic water. They're great for digestive health. Again, getting back to IBS, those kinds of drinks can be helpful to just restore your good bacteria in your gut and help with maximizing digestion. But kombucha, of course, is known for that as well. So I did pick up as a treat some kombucha. This is a berry flavored. It's really nice. So let's see. The one other thing that I picked up that I always like to get at Aldi, I love pasture-raised eggs. When I'm gonna use eggs, I like to use the pasture-raised variety. The chickens are out roaming around, and they're healthier. And so I did get these as well. Again, $5. I feel like everything is $5, but it's a reasonable price for pasture-raised eggs. And they're really good quality. Like the yolks are very golden yellow. They say that's a sign of a pretty healthy chicken and a healthier egg for you to consume when you break it open and you have this nice golden egg. So these are great. So I picked up some of those as well. And another versatile ingredient, you can make a frittata. This morning I made a nice little Japanese omelet where I cooked it with a little bit of chopped lettuce. Seems like a funny ingredient to cook. I never thought of cooking lettuce, but it's a Japanese/Chinese recipe for a little egg pancake where you cook it with scallions and some sauteed lettuce. And it's interesting because if you think about the warming and cooling effects of foods, lettuce is cooling and eggs are going to be, chicken eggs are a little bit more warming. So it's a more balanced dish according to the principles of Chinese medicine, which I always like to factor in there when I'm thinking of food and health. So I made one of those this morning. So you can make something like that with your eggs. Of course, they're great for baking. What else can you do with eggs? Just hard boiling them, making egg salad. So again, if we're thinking of our overall meal plan before we even go shopping, you can think of different ways to use different ingredients. And eggs are a relatively inexpensive ingredient. They're nutritious. They contain choline, which is great for brain health. And so I like to keep the eggs on hand, and that's a reasonably priced deal for eggs. So what else did I get? Let's see. I got some gluten-free pasta. It's made with brown rice and quinoa. For a little while, I was on this oxalate kick. In fact, I have a video on foods that are high in oxalates. And I do still watch my foods that are high in oxalates. Supposedly, quinoa and brown rice are both high in oxalates, which oxalates, I won't get into the whole thing, but they're little crystals that can, kind of lodge in your body and cause kidney stones and things like that. So if you're prone to kidney stones, it is a really good idea to consult a doctor and be aware of which foods are high oxalate. But if you don't have an issue, supposedly if you just have a little calcium at the same time when you're consuming something like this, for example, if you had this with some of our sauce and a little bit of our grass-fed beef, and you just put some Parmesan cheese on it, that dairy is going to help with the oxalate issue to an extent. But anyway, you can't get too crazy about any one of these health concerns. You have to live life at the end of the day, and it's at least gluten-free, and for anyone who has a gluten sensitivity, it can be a nice option. It has a nice tender result. I also like Trader Joe's gluten-free pasta. They have a corn rice pasta that's made in Italy that is to die for. It's so delicious. So, but this is nice. It's reasonably priced and a good option. So those are my food shopping tips for today. I want to say again, happy Saturday, and I hope you guys are having a great weekend. And let me know in any comments what your food shopping tips are. I'd love to hear from you. I just shared a few tips today, but it's a popular topic, and I love it sharing how we can save money, eat healthy, and enjoy home cooking. So let me hear from you what your tips are or something you learned from this video that you enjoyed. Okay, enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys, and I'll see you in another live stream soon. Take care. Bye-bye.